Basically, we have this set up just like it would be sort of a condensed version. Usually the aid stations are definitely spread out a bit more, so there's lots of room for those thousands of runners to go through. So, and Liz is going to be kind of taking lead on a lot of this.
So as a volunteer, Marissa's going to get a blue volunteer shirt, and she needs to wear it on race day. We also encourage volunteers to wear khaki shorts or pants. The other thing Marissa has on, which is really important for aid station volunteers, is these gloves. So all aid station captains get gloves in a bunch of different sizes, and it's just really important keep the fluids and the food safe for runners, that all volunteers at aid stations have their gloves on. And Marissa was doing this while we were doing the demo, but you may not have noticed. But you'll see that we put a duct tape line down on the ground here, all the way the length of the whole aid station. So aid station captains, you need to make sure you put down that duct tape line, and that gives a visual for your volunteers to not step across. So maybe turn, Marissa, with me like you're gonna the other way. You're gonna feed me in the aid station. So Marissa's like, we're gonna be right on the edge of the yellow line. We don't really wanna go over it because we don't wanna crowd the runners. That is just a helpful thing for aid station volunteers to keep in mind. So when you arrive at your aid station, captains, all these supplies will be on the side of the road. You'll need to do an inventory based on your inventory sheet, and if anything's missing, you need to let us know. So it will be your job to set up all the tables in the appropriate locations. The way you set up a water table is to take these water barrels, put a fluid liner inside of it, just the way we've set it up. The fluid liners are the clear trash bags, and they're for water and fluids. And then what we did was we just took some of the yellow duct tape and taped it around the outside. And then what you're going to do is pour from your 5-gallon water jugs into, here, let's set it back down on the table and let's peel this off all the way. Pour 5-gallon water jugs into your fluid barrels lined with your fluid liners. Just like Marissa's doing. Okay, so all the cups come in these sleeves. So what you do is you set up cups on the table. So Marissa, you want to slide these bottles over a little bit? Set up some of these cups. And then every aid station has a bunch of these pitchers. So what you do is you dip your pitcher into the water barrel, fill it up, and then use your pitcher to fill up all the cups. Basically just like this. We fill cups up about halfway. If you fill them up all the way, it can be an issue because when runners squeeze the cup or grab them from you, water will spill out. So we fill our cups halfway. The other thing that all the aid station kits have are these barrel covers. These are great because you can get your station, you can get all your water barrels filled up and then put a barrel cover on it until you're ready to go and not be worried that something will get in there.
Yeah, so it just looks like a really large shower cap, basically.
The other thing that works well also is a piece of cardboard right on top of a barrel. Keeps things that aren't supposed to be in there out. So a lot of our aid stations in the first half of the course will receive sheets of plywood, and they're 2-foot by 8-foot sheets. And the way the sheets of plywood work are you set up cups and you fill up your whole table. And then you put the plywood down and you stack a whole nother stack of cups on top, and you basically stack it up a few layers. If you have sheets of plywood at your station, it's really important to use them all and fill up that number of cups because you will need them during the race.
Yeah, it's thousands of runners coming through. So if you are a new aid station person this year, just know to be ready. The other thing that we do recommend is, in the front part of the race where people are going a little bit faster, being prepped, having all those cups ready, and having 2 cups, 2 cups in your hand at all times, and knowing those runners are just going to be going a little bit faster. So Marissa is going to demo the 2-cup situation. It takes a little practice. So she's got one there, and then as soon as that's taken, she puts another one out, and there's probably a volunteer behind her just loading her up. So really a great team effort. We have some amazing groups that staff our aid stations. Liz, can you tell us a little bit about some of those groups?
So we have
putting Liz on the spot.
A couple dozen groups.
South Burlington High School.
We have South Burlington High School out on the Beltline. We have an Air National Guard group. We have a couple Girls on the Run groups. We have the YMCA, Colchester High School, North Ave Alliance Church.
So yeah, lots of great groups that come out, and they're used to working together and doing community efforts together. So we really appreciate those groups. We could not do it without them.
Yep.
Pros out there know, this is a concentrate, so it gets diluted with water. So that's really important.
One of these gallons goes in one of those 5-gallon
into the 5-gallon, and then the rest is water. So that is the ratio.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Gatorade Endurance. Thank you, Gatorade. Also donated.
And as part of that donation, we really try to brand aid stations to help promote the folks that have donated product to the marathon. So for aid station captains and aid station volunteers, it's really important to have the Gatorade banners up and also the Gatorade jugs, because all the Gatorade jugs are branded. So we like aid stations to use the jugs. If for some reason you don't, if you can have them displayed so that runners see them, and we also have them in pictures, that would be the best. So when you get to your aid station, your orange Gatorade water jugs should be pre-filled. So what you'll do is you open the jug and pour the Gatorade Endurance formula right into the jug. So we arrived here this morning. We look in the jug, it's full of water. We're gonna pour this in, pour the whole thing in. And then we have these really cool Gatorade stir sticks, which help mix up the Gatorade. Otherwise, it may be too concentrated in some parts of the container and too watery in others. So using the stir sticks is important. Once we do that, I put the cover of the jug back on.
Marissa is an excellent assistant.
And then actually I'm going to turn it to the side of the table. And we're just going to fill some cups.
So Liz has turned it sideways, so the spigot is basically just hanging off the table, and then just banging out those cups and filling them as fast as she possibly can.
The other thing that I know some aid station groups do is keep the top off and use the pitcher right in the top. So that's an option also.
Liz does not have gloves on right now, but she, of course, doing all of this would have her gloves on.
For those in the ski patrol world, it's BSI. It's important for aid station captains to pick up their ice before they get to the aid station. We have 2 aid station ice pickup locations. One is at Oak Ledge Park and one is at Letty Park. What you do is you pick up 1 bag of cubed ice, and the cubed ice goes in this cooler. And then when you arrive at your aid station, you give it to your the medical people at your aid station. So our ice comes from Creed Ice, and so it's a Creed ice dispenser, just like you would see outside a convenience store or a gas station where you might pick up ice in the summertime for a barbecue. So the cubed ice goes in here, you give it to the medical person at your aid station, and then all the ice coolers also have block ice in them, and the block ice, when you pick it up, it goes in your water barrels. So I don't have block ice here with me, but I would take the block ice, take it out of the bag, put it in the water barrel, and then fill the water barrel up with water. Just a way to keep the water a little cooler.
Yeah, the runners appreciate the water that's just a little bit cooler.
Yep.
Even if it isn't a hot day, it's just nice to have some refreshing water.
Yep.
And as a captain, how will I know how many blocks of ice to pick up if I forget my information and I get to the cooler and I'm like, oh no, I don't know how many to take?
So this year we've made signs that we're going to post on each cooler, and they say how many blocks of ice to pick up. So find your name on the list, and it'll have a number. So what we do is we do 1 block of ice per water barrel, and all that information is in your aid station captain's instruction booklet. Think about designating jobs to your volunteers and sort of thinking ahead a little bit. During the busiest time of your aid station, you won't really be able to, and we don't necessarily want you to be cleaning up or picking up cups. But once kind of things settle down, you may want to designate a couple volunteers to take garden rakes or brooms that you bring from home and start pushing cups off the side. The other thing that we encourage you to bring is some snow shovels. Those are really helpful in terms of cleaning up cups on course. So start picking up cups, start kind of consolidating your stuff, and not waiting till the last minute to start doing that. But definitely, you need to wait till all the runners come through. And then when you are told you can leave, close up your tables, stack all your empty water jugs, stack up if there are any full water jugs left over, kind of keep your supplies organized and stacked on the side. And then the supplies that you brought with you in the morning, so your aid station supply bin, and get the cooler back from the medical, and any kind of banners and stuff that you brought with you, banners and signs. Bring that all back to us, and either you're going to be dropping it off at Joel's house.
Joel has just joined the broadcast.
Hi, Joel.
Shout out to Joel. Joel's our aid station coordinator. He is a super rock star. He comes in here on the weekends with his daughters during his free time, and he's the one that organizes all of this. So thank you, Joel Rebu.
Yeah, so all the stuff that you got from Joel at your supply pickup, you're going to either bring back to him, drop it off with him, or drop it off down at 1 Main Street the day of the race, or sometime in a couple days right after the race. And getting that stuff back as quickly as possible is really helpful to us. If you can designate a volunteer to make the drop-off for you, if that's easier, that would be great.
Lots and lots of information. Liz and Marissa, thank you so much for making this happen.